Well, it seems that being given a Christmassy hat has inspired me to record a Christmas video. So here we go. So about the history of Christmas, well, it hasn't always been a Christian festivity. Now, across the ancient world, there are many festivals that were celebrated in December. The biggest of them was Roman Saturnalia, which was celebrated from December the 17th to December the 25th. Now, from a Christian point of view, Jesus' birth date has always been subject of controversy because it's not mentioned in the Bible exactly when it was. There are a few hints as to what events were going on at the time, like the whole business with Herod and the slaying of the firstborn. But the Bible doesn't actually state a date. However, in 215 AD, a bishop of Alexandria called Clement said that he had traced the date to the 18th of November. Okay. But more recently, a gentleman called Fitzmayer, who is a professor at the University of America, he actually did a lot of research into the events around Jesus' birth, and he concluded that it was probably, wait for this, 11th of September. Yes, 9/11 was Jesus' birthday. That's a bit strange, really, but never mind. And it was in 4th century BC that Christians actually made the pagan festival Jesus' birthday to try and hijack it and to make Christianity more popular and to lever the old religions out of the frame. In fact, the earliest Christmas holidays were actually celebrated by drinking, sexual indulgence and singing naked in the streets. So, no change there then. Still plenty of drunken singing and nudity going on. So as late as 1466, Pope Paul II forced Jews to race naked through the streets of Rome after giving them a huge Christmas meal in order to make it more interesting. And this would seem to be the origin of Christmas dinner, believe it or not. Force feeding Jews on Christmas Day, then racing them naked through the streets of Rome. Not seemingly a very Christian thing to do, but hey, the Pope did it, so it must be. Now, as late as 1881, Christmas was essentially an anti-Semitic ceremony. And in Poland that year, many Jews were killed in riots on December the 25th that were instigated by Polish bishops. So much for religion. The pomp and pageantry of midnight mass on Christmas Eve at St Paul's Cathedral. Well, so much for religion and Christmas. So how about gift giving? Well, in Saturnalia again, the emperors of Rome actually compelled their most despised citizens to come and give them gifts on the 25th. And this seems to be the start of the whole Christmas gift giving thing, of giving presents on the 25th. And later on, this expanded to gift giving amongst the general populace. Now, the Catholic Church again tried to Christianise this by using St. Nicholas, or Santa Claus as we now know him. But what of this kindly old gentleman, his reindeer and his elves? How about Father Christmas and the tradition of giving presents at Christmas? Now, St. Nicholas was actually Turkish, and he was born in 260 AD and he died on December the 6th in 345 AD, and he was 75 years old, which was a huge age for somebody in those times. Now, the Catholic Church in 1087 decided to have his bones moved, and they moved them to a sanctuary in a place called Bari in Italy. Now, they did this for a reason. It was specifically because there was this big cult locally with a female goddess called Pasqua Epiphania, who'd been around since Roman times but just couldn't be stamped out for some reason. And the main reason was she was very, very popular with all the children because she would fill the children's stockings with presents. And this is where the whole stocking and hanging your stocking up and getting it filled with presents actually came from. And it's quite fascinating, really. It was a pagan goddess. So presents were at that time given on the 6th of December because the Roman Catholic Church wanted to get St. Nicholas into the picture, and St. Nicholas died on the 6th of December. So this cult of St. Nicholas, because that is what they started to replace this pagan goddess, spread north, and it was adopted by pagans in Germany and all across the Celtic world. And the Germans merged St. Nicholas with Woden, and Woden used to ride a horse through the sky in the autumn, and this is where the flying figure of Father Christmas seems to have come from. And St. Nicholas was also suddenly given a beard, which he'd never had before, and lost his darker complexion, Mediterranean olive skin complexion, and became white, and rescheduled his flight for December the 25th. So entirely an invention, really, Santa Claus, and unsurprisingly, although there's still lots of people who think that Santa exists, especially if you're under 10. If you've got children who are under 10, please don't get them to watch this film. Not good. And so the name of Santa Claus was really popularized during this poem in 1822, and it was the title of the poem in many places was actually Santa Claus 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Ma, in her kerchief, I in my cap, had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below. when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet an obstacle, mount to the sky, so up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my hand and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back. He looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, filled all the stockings, and then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
And that recording was, of course, courtesy of the great Dick Van Dyke. Now, this is the old image of Father Christmas that is portrayed in that poem. You'll notice he said a miniature sleigh, not a full-size sleigh, which makes you wonder how Santa gets all his presents on it. And Santa is basically a gnome. He's a short little man, like a garden gnome. So this is really the image of Father Christmas that existed all the way up until an illustrator called Thomas Nast started drawing pictures for him for Harper's Magazine. And then in 1931, Coca-Cola, that great American company, commissioned Haddon Sundblom to create the new picture of Santa for their advertising campaign, and they insisted that he was dressed in Coca-Cola red. And so Santa was born, a blend of pagan god, Christian crusader, and commercial idol.
Coming to your town, watch out, look around, 'cause we're coming to town, to your town. Always got to come, something magic in the night. Can you see it shining bright?
New Coca-Cola Santa Packs, the only real holiday refreshment. Look for this display at your store.
Holiday refreshments, what we bring. Unwrap a Santa pack, it's always a real thing. Always Coca-Cola, watch out, look around, we come.
Sleigh bells! Here he comes!
Oh, there he is.
Well, I hope you found this video informative and fun, and you've enjoyed it, and if so, please subscribe, like and share. Above all, share. Thank you very much, and a Merry Christmas.